Thanks for joining me, ladies and gents. Before we get going, as usual, please do like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And also make sure you check out the Resolving Reality website, resolvingr.com, for all the links and social media and so on. So just a few comments on the Irish elections aftermath, plus a couple of other bits and pieces. So here we go. So there's the elections recently, which was the talk of the town for a little while. A lot of high hopes for the nationalist side to gain a bit of traction, make a bit of an impact. So it's varying levels of success. So an article here in the Irish Examiner: no revolution but landmark result for 4 far-right candidates in local elections. So there's people like Malachy Steenson, Gavin Pepper. Also there was Patrick Quinlan of the National Party. So there's some success stories, some other disappointments, but overall I think a real good thing overall. It's all progress. As well as that as well, you know, the nationalist side is up against the system combined with the mainstream media, the NGO complex, and all of the pulling all their usual dirty tricks. There's reports coming out. Well, we've actually seen video evidence of migrants being used to participate in voting by the busload. So I heard rumours that it was up in the, you know, the at least the tens of thousands, maybe even higher than that. So I've yet to receive confirmation on that from that particular source, but a tremendous amount of cheating going on as usual. So things are, you know, it's all progress. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day, so I hope everyone's still feeling a bit optimistic despite what happened. Obviously a lot of nutcases got into seats as well, but it's hard to know whether or not they're being things are being done fairly. But the thing is, anyone like, say, I know there's some people before profit candidates, which is an overtly Marxist group. Any groups like that getting into power is a sure sign, if it's legitimate voting, that is a sure sign that the ideology is still going strong, the ideology of Marxism, and that people are still getting support from other cult members. So with all that being said, I did say coming up to the elections I thought that they were going to pull all the tricks, pull out all the stops to engage in a bit of cheating as best they could, and they never like to fight fair, and they're going to gloat about it. And the most important thing is people don't get demoralized, because they're up against this this cult movement of traitors, the Marxist traitors, and they're going to use all the tricks they can to try to demoralize people and to hope that we lose momentum and lose confidence and back off. But you know, as well as I pointed out as well, that we can't be just looking for the quick victory and expecting that a simple election, whether it's local or European elections, is going to just be a magic wand that's going to sort out everything. Problems don't go away like that. It would be great if it was that simple, but they don't. And the real problem, as I always come back to, is the ideologies, the rot under the floorboards. So with that being said, me personally, I don't think this relying on the system of democracy and voting in this way is going to produce results as effectively as if we deal with the other problem first, which is what we're going to get into right now. So the next thing I want to do is I want to introduce the revamped Resolving Reality website. So this website here is resolvingr.com. I'll just show the URL. So resolvingr.com, you can see in the bar at the top. Resolvingr.com is the URL. It used to be resolvingreality.com, but since I let the website expire, I lost that domain, and someone asked me, I was offered that I could buy it back for $2.5 grand, and I said no, I'll just change the fucking letters, thanks. So resolvingr.com, so you can see the landing page there. It's just very straightforward. It's still a work in progress. This is not to scale because it's on a different monitor right now. You're watching my desktop. So I've also got the about page as well, so just has like all the different links to my social media in descriptive form there. There's also the widgets as well you can click on here. And on the bottom of the page then is, like, you know, just a selection of different videos. So that's an audio interview with Mike Connell. That one's from SoundCloud, I think. There's also some YouTube videos there as well. And they should rotate. So you got a TikTok profile, Rumble, and so on. And you got the widgets at the bottom for different social media profiles as well. The next one then is, the next page is then dedicated to the book. So I published a book recently called Red Pandemic, The Global Marxist Cult. And before I actually show you the website, or well, before I go to that, I'll finish showing you the website. So we'll come back to the book in a moment. Got another page there for support, buy me a coffee, and the Etsy, which is the merch shop. So I'm actually excited about this. So, you know, my channel's too small to have a merch store really, but you know, it'll come in handy one day. So you can see the different Resolving Reality merch there. Symbol looks quite good, so you can kind of put in custom orders to me. I can make anything really with using the symbol, different types of clothing and other items from Etsy, actually fulfilled by Gelato. So that's the merch support order, and the contact page is at the end there. So it's still very much a work in progress, needs to be tightened up and tidied and so on, but thought it'd be good to have that back. Let me go to this post, right? So I put up a post, I'll just go full screen here. Put up a post recently about the book, so I'm just going to read this to you. This is my pinned tweet on the X profile, so at resolvingr on Twitter, and this is the pinned tweet. So, delighted to announce the recent release of my book, Red Pandemic, The Global Marxist Cult, the culmination of several years of research. This book is a gift to anyone in the world who values truth, sanity, justice, and freedom from globalist tyranny. It was really Marxist tyranny. From the back cover, the critical issue in the world today is Marxism and Marxist indoctrination. This toxic ideology and its adherents are primarily responsible for the highly volatile and fragmented global situation at present, particularly in Western countries. If there is one book to cut straight to the core of all the upheaval in the world right now and what we must do to stop it, this is it. And at the end I say, Red Pandemic is available from the publisher's website, omniaveritas.com, and several other online vendors. It has been translated into Spanish, French, Italian, and German. And there's the publisher's handle as well, if you want to follow that on X, at Omnia Veritas Limited. So if you're in Ireland or the UK or so, you're pretty close. They've got other, you know, they're able to get that around if you're in Western Europe. If you're somewhere else, there's other options on my page, like there's Amazon, amazon.co.uk, there's amazon.com, amazon.co.uk, and some other vendors depending where you are in the world. So this is going global, so there's plenty of options for you there really. But no, obviously, of course, go to straight to the website if you can, the publisher's website. So if you wouldn't mind sharing that tweet, would really help me out. If you go to my profile on X and just make sure you share that tweet around just to get a bit more traction on it, would be good, really help me out. So here's the page on the website dedicated to the book. So you can see the title at the top, Red Pandemic, The Global Marxist Cult. This page is dedicated to a book on the extremely critical global issue of Marxism and Marxist indoctrination. The book is entitled Red Pandemic, The Global Marxist Cult. Tens of millions of people around the world are affected by this toxic ideology, yet many are unable to acknowledge it, let alone comprehend it fully. This book is designed to resolve this issue. The critical issue in the world today is Marxism and Marxist indoctrination. This toxic ideology and its adherents are primarily responsible for the highly volatile and fragmented global situation at present, particularly in Western countries. This revolutionary ideology is the origin and enabler of many destructive issues affecting Western civilization, including mass immigration, the climate change movement, radical sex education, falling birth rates and abortion, the assault on Christianity, the destruction of the traditional family unit, the erosion of indigenous culture, the suppression of free speech, racial conflict, the mental health crises, the breakdown of law and order, the spectre of totalitarian world government, and the incremental creep towards another global conflict. The indoctrination fueling this cult movement is so toxic, potent, and well entrenched in the minds of the affected that this constitutes a global pandemic of insane, fanatical, coordinated, civilization-destroying behavior. This often mislabeled and little understood ideology has managed to stay somewhat hidden from public discourse until now. If there is one book to cut straight to the core of all the upheaval in the world right now and what we must do to stop it, this is it. And I'll scroll down a bit here. The symbols on the book's front cover represent the myriad of global issues supported or enabled by this ideology and are dissected within the book's pages. In addition to what is listed above, they include trans ideology, feminism, Black Lives Matter and anti-racism, and veganism. Essentially, any manifestation of crazy revolutionary activism in the modern age. Written in an accessible, easy-to-read style, the book guides readers from novice to mastery on this critical subject. Red Pandemic is available worldwide in 5 languages: English, Spanish, French, Italian and German. Spanning 640 pages, the book features hundreds of integrated footnotes and references, along with a comprehensive index of terms. You can purchase Red Pandemic directly from the publisher's website, Omnia Veritas, and from several online vendors including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, A-Books, Books A Million, Powell's Books, Alibris, Bookshop.org and IndieBound. At present, there is no audiobook or Kindle version. And if I scroll down a bit, you can see the different versions of the book. So let me just go back here slightly. So there's the English version starting in the middle, The Global Marxist Cult. You can see the back cover. So I'll come back to the covers in a moment and explain the layout and design and so on. So that's the front cover of English, back cover of English. So there's the French version, Les Cultes Marxistes Mondiales, and then Pandémie Rouge, and the French back there again, so Pandemia Roja, that's Spanish, yeah, El Culto Marxista Mundial, and then the Italian version as well. So they did a really good job. I mean, with the design, actually, I did the design. I had someone help me with the design, and we kind of brainstormed. I've worked with designers before, so I kind of brainstormed some ideas with the designer, and we came up with this. We had a bit of back and forth with the publisher because the red wasn't bright enough and some other bits and pieces, and we just made some changes, and we had to leave space for the publisher's name at the bottom. But we got there in the end, and I'm very happy with that. So I'll come back to breaking down the cover more a little bit shortly. So there's the back of the Italian version and the German version as well. I'm even going to try to pronounce that. Der Global Marxistische Kult. Right, so I'll just go through the different symbols on the front cover of the book. So I designed, what I wanted was on the cover of the book, I wanted the cover to show all of the different, to try to show people straight away at the cover that Marxism is the ideology behind all of these things which have been ruining the planet over, you know, well, going back decades and decades, really. So on the top left, the syringe represents, well, it represents COVID, right? I originally wanted the diagonal, but it represents COVID, but also can represent illegal drugs as well, because the so-called political left, the Marxists, you always see them trying to push for legalizing drugs because they like pushing degeneracy and they like to break down society in the name of compassion, quote unquote. So drug pushing, but also COVID as well, which is related. The book explains how the COVID fiasco and situation had a Marxist, internationalist Marxist origins. At the very top, you can see the United Nations emblem and the European Union. The United Nations gets a section in the book, a brief section. The EU doesn't, but it's mentioned throughout anyway, because the book is for an international audience, not just Europeans or Irish. The top right is obviously the Soviet emblem, the hammer and the sickle, and the fist on the left is the Black Lives Matter emblem, but you know, the Marxist fist as well has been all through its history, the Marxist clenched fist. And over to the right of Red Pandemic, you see the feminist symbol is the feminine symbol with the clenched fist in the middle. Then I'll move down to the next section. So to the left of the global Marxist cult, you can see a little fork and knife and a plate there with a little leaf on it. So that represents veganism, another type of crazy revolutionary activism. That's an unnatural New World Order diet that weakens populations, helps to destroy the birth rates and so on by destroying fertility, lowering lifespans, and also encourages mental illness as well, which complements Marxism quite nicely. You can't survive and stay physically or mentally healthy living off leaves. And then next down is the kind of the Soviet emblem mixed in with the transgender trans movement emblem. To the right of the middle section, then you've got the little boat people there. So for American viewers, you might understand that simple straight away because your migrants tend to come across the land bridge and in Central America with the Darien Gap and so on, you know. But in Europe, we're used to the boat people, they're called, and so that's what that represents. Down below that, you can see the picture of the pregnant woman with the no symbol across, no pregnant women. So that just Marxism is helps abortion and you know, discourages females from getting pregnant and so on. So that's the feminist movement and abortion contained in that symbol. And then below cult, you see the family, no families. So the breakdown of the traditional family unit is traditionally one of the goals of the Marxist cult. To the right of that, there's the So the education cap represents the university system, which is central in brainwashing people to be Marxist revolutionary. So they're getting an education, quote unquote, which is really just a course in how to be a Marxist activist. They literally end up brain damage for life. And then below that, then the section over to the left, in the bottom left of the book cover almost, is just an outline of Karl Marx. To the right of him is an upside down cross, which is a representative of how Marxism is anti-Christianity, and that is a satanic symbol when the cross is upside down like that. So Marxism is essentially Satanism repackaged. And then you've got to the right of the author name, then you've got the wind turbines representing the climate change movement. So that's another tentacle of the international Marxism, is the whole green agenda, saving the planet, quote unquote. And to the right of that then is Vladimir Lenin, who, if people don't know who that is, was one of the chief protagonists of the 1917 Bolshevik takeover of Russia and the beginnings of the Soviet Union, which is one of the worst things that ever happened to humanity, because once the Soviet Union was created and you had nut jobs like this guy Lenin, started to export the ideology internationally and try to make other countries infected with the ideology, and that was the beginnings of what has us in the mess we're in today. Here's the back cover of the book then, so I can already mention what's on the back cover just so you can have a look at it there. So the publisher did a really good job lining out the logos and so on. I'm not able to zoom in this version, but... Right, so for this section here, I'll just introduce you to the book itself. This is the PDF version. So this is my PDF version. It's edited and stuff, but it's not like how the final book would look. The publisher didn't give me a PDF version. So there's the title there. It's pretty much like that. So this is the first piece of business here from myself. This work is dedicated to the hundreds of millions of people and counting who've had to endure revolutionary, progressive or activist irritation, inconvenience, judgment, ostracization, harassment, intimidation, property damage, assault, torture, rape, forced suicide, murder and genocide throughout the history of Marxism, and to all genuine lovers of truth, freedom and justice, whomever you are and wherever you may be in this infected world. I'll scroll down a bit to the next page, and here's some quotes for you here. So the top one's a piss take of Karl Marx's infamous quote: "Marxism is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world, and the soul of our soulless conditions. It is the opium of the people. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." Hosea 4:6. "When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth." Peter Washington, Dawn of the Dead, 1978. And the last quote there is a reference to the brainwashed people we have in the world today. They're like zombies, essentially. So here is the table of contents. Right, so just go through these. So you got an introduction, a section on definitions, because words are important. You know, people, there's too many names going around the place with this ideology, and there's all these different definitions and confusion. So I break those down for a few pages, expand on the ideology a little bit more important bits. I'll go through all the history of it and all the different Marxist groups in the world by continent here, which took me a few months to put that together. International organizations, death toll. Here I just talk about some of the different artifacts. And also this is an important section as well. This is how Marxism destroys Western civilization, capitalism, Christianity, and culture, pretty much, as well as the destruction of the traditional family unit as well. And there's some of the historical stuff, the different groups and characters who gave us some interest and study about the history of Marxism. So you got Fabian Socialism, the Frankfurt School, Postmodernism, Yuri Bezmenov, Saul Alinsky, and Communitarianism. Further on down, we've got breaking down the transmission belts of culture, right? These are like the areas of society that the ideology uses to brainwash people. So you got the mainstream media, education, including the universities, the entertainment industry, online and social media. There's the NGO complex analysis on those. Common excuses that people make. You'll hear this, common excuses from Marxist cult members. The Scarlet Formula, how to speak Marxist core elements, so it's more analysis of the ideology. This section here is important, I think, because people think we're dealing with an internationalist movement of these different things. They don't see how they're all connected. So mass immigration, so LGBTQ, trans, non-binary, sexuality, etc., all of that as well, Black Lives Matter and anti-racism, feminism, abortion, the climate change movement, COVID, 1984, veganism, anti-Americanism. All of those are all connected. Right? They're all different aspects of the ideology. So they're all big stories unto themselves, but it's all crazy revolutionary activism basically. It's all highly destructive. So these are other signs and symptoms in society that you're infected with Marxism. A section here on the United Nations, the divided nations, and the Club of Rome. That's an interesting section as well, talking about a very important section, talking about Marxism versus freedom and left and right wing. There's a lot of confusion about stuff like that. In fact, last night I listened to an X Space where it was a terrible X Space where there was almost a 2-hour discussion talking about what left and right wing is. This is highly problematic. People don't understand what they're talking about to the benefit of Marxism, and that's why we, even though a lot of people want change in the world, we never seem to get any traction or any sort of progress because of all the confusion about what we must do and what left and right means and so on. There's the epilogue, a zombie apocalypse, talking a bit more about the indoctrination at the end, references a big bibliography, and then the index as well. Actually, sorry, that was this section here reference. This was actually changed. That this doesn't apply anymore because in the final finished version they're integrated footnotes, so that section doesn't apply. But there is an index at the end as well. So that's all for this video, folks. Thanks for watching. Please do like, comment, share, subscribe, all that crack. Make sure you check out the Red Pandemic book page on the website resolvingr.com, and the links for the website should be down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.